My name is Dr. Nettles, and I was a practicing chiropractor for 12 years. 5 years in Northern California, where I'm from, the Bay Area, Northern California, and 7 years on the west side in Goodyear, Arizona. And it was something that, doing network marketing, I had a very similar experience, or opinion rather, of Dr. Weathersby. I did not like network marketing, and it's not because I knew enough about it. I literally was very ignorant about it. I didn't like the people that brought network marketing opportunities into my office. And the reason being is because I was convinced they were illiterate, because there was 6 no soliciting signs from the parking lot. And the one that was on my door, literally right above my doorknob to get into my practice, said no soliciting, and it had a company that starts with an X, rhymes with mango, and another company that starts with an M, and it's, well, I don't want to say, it's very similar, but it said, that company and this means you. And they still walked into my practice. And the reason I had that sign made, because we were on the 2nd story of a professional building, there was a company called Fast Signs on the 1st story. And it's not that I had anything against those companies, I didn't really know anything about them. But I knew that the people that were giving me the samples of those companies didn't read signs, and when we said no thank you, they would turn around from me and my staff and try to solicit my patients in my waiting room. And I thought that was just incredibly rude and disrespectful. So I called security a couple times on these people. And I understand now with a passion as a network marketer why they would entertain doing something like that, but I just couldn't do that. I couldn't walk into someone else's place of business, ignore their sign, and be disrespectful to their rules. It was just something I couldn't do. And I'm not saying that's what those companies do or train their people. The people that I came in contact with in those companies, that's what they did. And I was, again, extremely ignorant. I will be honest and admit that. But when I was about 2 years into our Arizona practice, a patient came to me with another company that had some pseudoscience and introduced it to me. I was trying to give it to me to take with my patients or to give to my patient, give me some samples, and I said, no, I don't believe in network marketing. And it was almost, after I said it, I kind of cringed a little bit because I did in fact say it, but I even cringed more when the patient called me out on it. And he said, Dr. Nettles, you seem like a smart guy. And I thought, okay, and he goes, I would assume that a doctor in your caliber wouldn't just dismiss something and say they don't believe it, especially you as a chiropractor. Have you ever heard people tell you they don't believe in chiropractic? And I really had no answer. I had no response. I was literally called to the carpet, and if I would have been a dog, my tail would have been between my legs. And I thought, you know what, you're absolutely right. I apologize. I was very emotional about it, and I wasn't thinking rationally. And I said, give me your information and I'll study it. And I took his product and it didn't do what I thought it was going to do or what the literature said it was going to do, so I dismissed it. But that got me to think. And so from that point forward, I was at least open, but I never found anything until the science found me through my business partner, Ms. Como, who actually should have been presenting tonight. And I apologize that you're getting his pinch hitter tonight and me. But he had a family emergency, and his father-in-law's health took a turn for the worse this morning, and they had an emergency family meeting to go up to Colorado, which is why Vince is not here and I am here today. But I'm very honored to be here in his absence and representing him because he's an amazing business partner and has a high integrity, and I'm honored to step into his footsteps tonight. But he brought this to this company and this product that you're going to hear about. And I don't want to share too much about it. I want to let the meeting do that for me and for you. And for the guests who raised your hands, this is for you. This is so that you can at least have the opportunity to get educated and make an educated decision. And I think that's what we owe you. And this is the reason I say that, is because, yes, we are a network marketing company, and I am extremely proud to say that I am a former chiropractor and current network marketer, because this is the single greatest way I have ever found to serve humanity at a high level, with health and prosperity. And that's why I sold my practice of 12 years to do this full time. And I still am in love with chiropractic. It has nothing to do with my dislike or not liking or loving chiropractic. I think I am a chiropractor through and through, but this is now the vehicle in which I bless people because it allows me to do it at a higher level. So that's how I got involved. But I want to share with you that you are the guest. I expect you to listen. I expect you to even maintain your skepticism until it goes away at your choice. Because I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just here to share with you information and empower you to make an educated decision. Is that fair enough? I don't want anybody leaving or being forced to make an impulsive decision, even if the person who brought you here brought you under duress. Because if I achieve my goal tonight, it's to allow you to make an educated decision, even if that educated decision is, no thank you, this is not for me. That would be perfect, because I don't want you to make an impulsive decision either way. Fair enough? Okay, so we're going to now get into the presentation. So for my reference, because I saw you from afar, if you're a guest, would you please raise your hand again? Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming, Steve. Your nose is growing, my friend. Thank you so much, because I know there's other things you would have rather been doing. Some of you would probably wish you were at home watching Seinfeld reruns. Some of you probably wish you were at home sticking sharp things in your eyes rather than being here. I just thank you so much for your presence here tonight. I'm blessed that you're here, and I'm hoping to return the favor by blessing you with something to think about on your way home. And if you have any questions, you are empowered and invited to stay. Get your questions answered, because again, I would much rather have you make an educated decision than an impulsive one. So let's go ahead and start it. So this is Desert Thunder, our company, Life Vantage. You're going to hear all about our company and all about our product line, and hopefully it will change your life as it's changed many people in this room. But I want to start by taking a closer look at the current situation that we as individuals in this room, but more importantly, the world is facing as a whole. So let's look at some numbers here. Does anybody, well, this actually came from the United States Census Bureau. There's 312 plus million people in the United States. Okay, 312 million people call this country home. As a little statistic, according to the American Heart Association, 80,700,000 of those 312 million are suffering from heart disease right now. These are living people, okay? Almost 1 in 4. Based on that statistic, there was over 850,000 deaths due to heart disease in this country alone last year. Unbelievable statistic. And I don't know about you, but as a healthcare provider, that sickens me. It actually makes me so sad, because those are people's husbands and wives and children that are dying of these things unnecessarily, because nobody was ever designed to die of a disease. We were designed to die of natural causes, which means you go to sleep and you just simply don't wake up. Okay, that's how we were supposed to die. Another fact, according to the American Cancer Society, there were 2 million plus new cases of cancer in this country alone last year, which means in 2010, no cancer. This is 2010 statistics. 2009, no cancer. 2010, 2 million plus Americans came down with cancer. And over 1 million of them were skin cancer. Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer out there. And over 550,000 of them died last year alone in this country alone. So the unfortunate truth of these two statistics is over 95% of these statistics were being treated medically when they died. So the system that we have to intervene in this capacity is not helping very much, because it's a reactive system. It's not a proactive system. The system waits for you to get a disease and then prescribes drugs to make it more comfortable for you while you pass away from the disease anyway. That's really the outcome. So that's the unfortunate reality behind the situation. What do heart disease, cancer, and over 200 other diseases have in common? That's really what we're here to discuss tonight. And the answer is something called oxidative stress, or free radical damage. It's been scientifically linked to over 200 diseases. And I would put a challenge out to you, and I have an unfair advantage, admittedly. Can you even name 200 diseases? No. I sat down and I tried, and I started writing them out, and I got to about 75, and I literally couldn't think of any more. And I'm trained in this. So over 200 diseases, and these are that are linked directly and scientifically to oxidative stress. So it's a big, big deal. Let's look at how big of a deal it is. As Dr. Weathersby said, what caused him to get into this organization with our company is this website right here called pubmed.gov. pubmed.gov. Now, if you've ever seen a website that ends in gov or ends in gov, what does that mean? Government, right? This website here is actually sponsored by the National Institutes of Health and the National Library of Medicine. Everything you see here is in a published medical journal, unlike, say, Google. Now, Google, you can use Google. We all know how to use Google. But if you type something in Google, you're going to get more than the 91,387 hits that was last week. There's even more now this week. You're going to get more than that on Google. But the question is this. Can you validate or substantiate or prove everything you find on Google when you look something up? Isn't there pros, cons, and somewhere in between on everything? That's because we have people's opinions on there. That is why we don't recommend you. Now, we recommend you go there and look to substantiate things, but not until you go here first, because this is not opinion. This is something that's been published in a medical journal. And if you look here under oxidative stress, it's kind of blurry, but in the back, on this website, I typed in oxidative stress. And there's 91,387 studies published on the relationship to oxidative stress and human disease. So it's not a minor problem. It's a big, big deal. Well, oxidative stress is the scientific term or medical term for free radical damage. There's even more research on free radicals themselves. And if you go to the same website and you type in reactive oxygen species, which is the scientific term for the free radical, there is over 114,000 studies published. So free radicals equals bad health is the bottom line here. And there's over 114,000 medical journals and medical studies published in medical journals to prove it. So it's not just Dr. Nettles' opinion or anyone else's opinion. It's universities' opinion and published medical journals. Do you guys see that now? This is why we recommend everything that we're saying here. Again, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to prove it to yourself that I'm right, and that you can be right as well by going to the source. That's what we want to do, is empower you and help you make an educated decision. On June 2nd of 2005, ABC Primetime National News did an investigative report. Now, for those of you who understand the terms investigative report, if you've ever watched one, does it usually portray something positive? It's usually an expose on something where someone is being led astray or it's a big scam, and this was no different when it began. John Quinones and his news team, who went to the University of Colorado at Denver, set out to actually disprove something, which was what they were hearing about this supplement and what it does. Now, if you've ever, any healthcare providers in the room, by show of hands? Okay, so healthcare providers have an unfair advantage in what I'm about to tell you, but the scientific protocol is you try to disprove something. And if you can't disprove it, it must be true. It's a kind of an opposite way of looking at something, but that's how scientific evidence and scientific protocol works. That's what they were doing in this investigative report. And when they couldn't disprove it, they aired it as their lead story on June 2nd of 2005. And if we can get the lights dimmed, I'm going to share it with you, because this changed the entire face of human science as it's studied with regard to free radical biology or oxidative stress as it relates to human health.